Okay, fractions need to be seen and understood as parts of a whole and as division. So, we're going to go through some definitions. The whole can be represented with sets of an object, a length on a number line, or an area. The portions or parts of a whole depends on the whole as it is defined. So we look at how a fraction is set up. We have the numerator on the top and the denominator on the bottom. The numerator tells us the group of equal sized parts, and the denominator tells us the equal sized parts. So we're going to show this fourth graders by a word problem, and we're going to use the representation instructional method. So Zoe had 81 Barbie dolls. 2/3 of them have blonde hair. How many have blonde hair? And we're going to represent this with base 10 blocks. And we need to establish our whole, which is 81, and our fraction, which is 2/3. So we need to create our 81. So we're going to have 8 10 longs, and we're going to have 1 unit. And since what we talked about before, that our denominator, which is the bottom number, tells us what our equal sized parts are. And that is here. So we need 3 equal sized parts. And we're going to use this with circles. And we're going to partition our 81 out into these equal sized groups. So we're going to start here, and we're going to partition these evenly. So we partitioned these out, these 10 longs out. But if you see, we only have 2 more 10 longs, and we have 3 equal sized groups. So we need to regroup these 2 10 longs into 20 individual units. And we can't forget the one that we had from our original 81. So in all, we have 21 units to partition out. And these were regrouped. So now we're going to continue to partition out. And you really want to make sure when you're partitioning that you keep the pattern the same. So that you're starting, so I start with the left, then I go to the middle, then I go to the right. Because you could have too many in one group if you do not equally partition them out into a sequence like I'm doing, left, middle, and right. As you can see, all of our units have been partitioned into 3 evenly groups. We need to find out how many are in each group. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, and we have 2 10 longs. Here, we have again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units and 2 10 longs. So we're consistent on these 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 2 10 longs. So this is a good representation of that we have evenly distributed in 3 ways. So, because we are talking about fractions, this is a 1/3 because we have 3 even groups, and this is another third, and this is another third. So now we need to go back to our problem and find out what our numerator was. And it says 2. So now we need to create a subset of 2/3. So we're going to take this 1/3 and this 1/3. But now we need to find out what 2/3 is together. And we have 27 is 1/3. So now we need to combine or add 27 together. So 27 plus 27. We have 7 plus 7. We have 4 in the ones place, and we need to regroup a 10 long. You have 2 plus 2 is 4 with another 10 long is 5. So we can say that 2/3 And we can represent this also in an area model. And we're going to do a different word problem. So, our next word problem is, Miss Bullard had 100 pieces of gum. After school, her students had chewed 3/4 of her gum. How many pieces did they choose? And again, we're talking about area model. So we're going to use 100 grid. And we have to establish our whole, which is 100. And we need to talk about our fraction, which is 3/4. And again, our numerator tells us the group size or the subsets of the equal size parts, and the denominator tells us what our equal size parts are. We need to now think, how are we going to create our equal size parts? Well, since it is 100, we can talk about money. There are 4 quarters and $1, and each quarter equals 25. So we can say that each of our equal size parts is going to have 25 in it. So now we can create our equal size parts. Okay, so this top left is 1/4, bottom left is 1/4, our top right is 1/4, and our bottom right is 1/4. And remember that each 4th equals 25. Okay, so now we have our equal size parts. Now we need to go back to our word problem and find out our numerator. And it is 3. So we need to select 3 equal size parts. And when we're selecting this, we need to talk about a misconception about when children try to identify fractions. They get so stuck on how it looks and what they're trained to look for. And we don't want to create that misconception because directionality in the area model does not matter. So to show that, we are going to select this 1/4. Because remember, 4th graders, they're all the same. They are evenly separated with 25. So we're going to take this 4th, we're going to take this 4th, and we're going to take this 4th. Okay, so now we've got our fraction shown here, but we need to find the value of what 3/4 is. And we have 1/4, which is 25. So we're going to add or multiply 25 3 times. So 25 plus 25. These are 2/4. 5 plus 5 is 0 in the ones place, and regroup 1 10 long. 2 plus 2 is 4. With another 10 long is 5. We need to add one more 4th, which is 25. We've got 5 plus 0 is 5. We've got 2 plus 5 is 7. So we have 5 units and 7 10 longs, which is 75. So we can say that 3/4